It's an honor to be here with Dr. Lee Laney and Dr. Franco Taylor. Thank you, doctors, for being here. I'm very excited to start with some information that we just received last week from our partners in Japan about the clinical trials that we have been doing in the last months around different types of viruses and the benefits of this technology against these viruses. So I would like to share, as an introduction, I would like to share this information, and I will be going back and forth with Dr. Lee and Dr. Franco so we can discuss a little bit more about what we're seeing on the screen. Do you agree?
Yes, absolutely.
Absolutely.
Perfect. Then I'll share my screen with here. Just hold on here. Ready. So here we can see, I'll go very fast through these clinical trials of Bell-Ash supplementation on the incidence of viral diseases. This, as you can see on your right, huge image of a nanovirus, because actually all viruses are at the nano level, and all our nanotechnology, all our metabolites are at the nano level. So we're speaking here the same language. It's a level that is at the molecules size, so people can understand. We're talking about molecules and way smaller than a human cell. So we will go through these main physiological and pathophysiological factors of COVID-19 first. Basically, I divided this for an easy understanding in three different important matters to discuss. The first one is the 3CL-Pro viral enzyme that helps the COVID-19 or SARS-CoV-2 virus to replicate. Second one, the cytokine storm, which is an inflammatory effect. And third, the natural killer cells attraction, the NK cells, which is the immune protection. So talking about this 3CL-Pro viral enzyme, you can see here in the diagram, it seems quite complicated, but at the end, on the upper right-hand side of the image, you'll see a coronavirus entering into a cell, into a human cell. What happens is that as the virus enters into the cell, the 3CL-Pro enzyme helps the cell to replicate. So you'll see the different stages. Actually, there are 8. We will not go through this. This is not a biology lesson. But if you go through the 8 steps, at the end, in the 8th step, which is in the down on the right-hand corner, you'll see a new virus release. So actually what happens is that the virus uses this enzyme to replicate, to start replicating very, very fast inside the cell, and uses all the cell machinery to produce these viral proteins. So the viruses start reproducing inside the cell. Without the 3CL-Pro, without this enzyme, the COVID-19 would not be able to reproduce, to replicate. So this is an important concept to understand, and we will go through after we review what Bell-Ash is doing with this 3CL-Pro enzyme. We will understand what's going on with our technology and this important enzyme. As a second, as I said, second important factor, there's the cytokine storm, which is this inflammatory effect. The deaths caused by the COVID-19 are due to a phenomenon called the cytokine storm, through which different pro-inflammatory substances called the interleukins, like the IL-1, IL-6, IL-8, tumor necrosis factor, among others, are released, causing the destruction of the pulmonary alveoli. So this is the other factor, this huge inflammatory effect that the COVID-19 virus creates inside the lungs, inside the alveoli. It's an overreaction. Basically, it's an overreaction of your immune system to this virus inside your lungs. And actually, this overreaction is what kills you. All the deaths caused by the COVID-19 are because of this overreaction, this huge inflammatory effect inside the lungs. And the third factor is the natural killer cell attraction, which is the immune protection. During infections with a virus like influenza or different types of coronavirus, the body's defense cells called natural killer cells are activated. These immune cells detect infected and activated cytotoxicity mechanisms, directly attacking virus-infected cells, slowing their reproduction. So I would like to talk a little bit more about these three important factors around the COVID-19 with our doctors. I would like to start with Dr. Lee. What you can add to all of this, doctor?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
What I'd like to add is that what you have said has been really an important understanding of the immune response to viruses, period. It gets to be very important when you talk about the physiologic and pathological factors of COVID-19, which itself is a special virus, if you will, because it's a mutated virus of the corona categories, and it actually has undergone such mutation until it's detrimental to a person down in the level of the lungs where our body can normally fight viruses off. COVID-19 has been something that not only detrimental to a human's body because it gives human-to-human type of transmission, but it also has been something that overtakes the cell itself, and it goes in and overwhelms, if you will, just like you had mentioned, the natural killer type of protective mechanisms that help us to protect the immune system. Also, when you talk about these particular cells, it's good to have something that's going to go in and help the cell be protected at the level from viruses and bacteria. And we're going to be talking about this later. There's something that can go in right at the level of the cell and help to protect the cells and the lungs down at the cellular level, even from something as strong and detrimental as COVID-19. That's what I would say introductory.
Thank you, doctor.
Alejandro, back to you.
Yes, thank you. And what would you like to add, Dr. Franco, to all of this?
Okay, how are you, my dear sir? It's good to see you again.
Good to see you again as well. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Well, it's just a pleasure knowing that when the body, as a lot of people, we call it autoimmune disease, and as you were just explaining, and as Dr. Laney was alluding to, when the body responds to a virus or whatever that doesn't belong in there, when it detects and responds to it, sometimes there's an over response. And we call it the cytokine storm, with massive amounts of immune ingredients are sent out into the body, and they need regulation. And the solution, or the answer, and the thankfulness, is that the Ballage has the polyphenols and so forth in it that literally help to regulate how the cytokine storm operates on the body. It helps to send the right amount of leukocytes to where they belong, and in the right amounts, so that they slow down and retard the inflammation, and they slow down the cell damage. We've got a formulation that is designed specifically with its nanotechnology to do that. And it's just, like I like to say, a plum pleasing pleasure to be a part of a company and a product system, a formulation system that can actually halt not only just this virus, but a lot of these other autoimmune diseases that are just destroying lives.
So absolutely, absolutely. Thank you. Well, I would like to add that, as Dr. Franco was saying, this Ballage product has a specific patented technology named ORISOD complex. This ORISOD complex has been developed in Japan for many, many decades. It took us many decades to get to the point where we are now in 2020. And it's basically a group of biologically active enzymes obtained through another patented process named cold bioffusion technology, using cold bioffusion reactors, which have different properties. All these enzymes have different properties to combat different types of viruses. This complex has specifically talking about the COVID-19, has three main benefits. The first one, this technology inhibits the protease 3CL-Pro, which is responsible for the viral replication, as we were just seeing in some previous slides, resulting in the inhibition of the virus reproduction within the cell. So basically, our product decreases or inhibits the virus reproduction as soon as the virus is inside the cell. The second important benefit is that this ORISOD complex decreases this cytokine storm. So all these enzymes that are activated within the cell are decreased, so the body doesn't overreact. Like the IL-1 beta, the IL-6, the IL-17D, other free radicals, reactive oxygen species, the NF-kappa beta, etc. And the third benefit, it stimulates all our defense lines, our immune system, activating at an important level all these natural killer cells, which are lymphocytes that are directly attacking the virus inside the lung cells. So we can confirm that this technology can be used as an adjuvant in the prevention and management of a virus like the COVID-19. And I would like to get specifically into this in vitro and in vivo clinical trials that we just received last week. And it's why we decided to have this conference with all of you, so you can immediately have the information and can start sharing it with all your clients, with all the patients, with all the people outside that are living in panic, in fear, that are really fearful about getting the COVID-19. Well, here is an option as an adjuvant to boost your immune system with a patented technology. So our study demonstrated the action of the lash on the enzyme responsible for this viral replication called the 3CL Pro, as we have been saying. The studies concluded that the lash reduces the reproduction of the SARS virus inside the cell by almost 84%. This enzyme, which is, as we have been saying, responsible for the replication of the virus, is inhibited. So we did this through organic substrate of the 3CL Pro and the lash, which were incubated, and with fluorescence. Fluorescence was measured for 4 hours at 490 nanometers. The result is that this inhibition of the 3CL Pro was pretty important, almost 84%. So, Dr. Lee, what would you like to add about this first important benefit of the lash technology?
Well, first off, I want to say that Balaj as a product is something in vivo or in vitro
I think that we're losing Dr. Lee.
Dr. Lee, your Wi-Fi, I think, is cutting out, sir. You may want to log off and log back in, Dr. Lee Laney.
Oh, let me see.
Maybe if you
am I on now? Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you now, Dr. Laney. Go right
now,
ahead.
Can you see me? Is that video up?
Yes.
Okay.
I think that we lost him again. So he's cutting off. So let's go with Dr. Franco. We were talking about the benefits of the lash. And in this case, we're specifically talking about the 3CL Pro enzyme and how this reproduction of the virus is reduced by almost 84%.
Right. Very, very good. Can you hear me?
Yes.
All right. Very good. Very good. Yes, it's just amazing that virus, like cancer, like they're all abnormal growths. Fibroids, all those are abnormal growths, abnormal tissue. The virus is abnormal, and it has to feed on something abnormal. So it has to have an environment that's abnormal. And the Balaj empowers the system to destroy that 3CL Pro enzyme so that it cannot produce the protein needed, and that just completely causes the viral cell to just disintegrate. So that's the power of the Balaj in building the body to the point where it can actually destroy this enzyme. Once it's destroyed, there's no protein made. This abnormal protein can't be made, and a good deal of that is because of the Balaj's ability to go straight into the cells and flush them out, flush out all the nastiness, the morbid, putrid material that the viral cell would be able to live with. So again, it stops the enzyme. The enzyme is not there. The viral cell can't make the protein, and it can't reproduce itself, and it basically implodes. We've got a powerful product in Balaj.
Absolutely, absolutely. Let's see if Dr. Lee is back. Maybe if you turn off your video, doctor, your signal will improve.
I've turned my video off. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Can you see me?
Yes.
I can't. All right.
I can still see you.
Okay. What I want to say in terms of 3CL Pro, when you talk about viral replication of the coronavirus, you actually need to have the 3CL Pro enzyme to actually make the virus not only replicate in vitro or in vivo, which means in the test tube or in the body, but the clinical trials by Sankey has shown that the Orezide complex, which is what Balaj is, along with olive,
I think that he's cutting off again. We cannot hear you. Doctor?
Something, when you talk about illnesses, you're going to get several different viruses and other bacteria, if you will. But when you take something like Balaj that's being used in the Sankey Mayer studies, and I was looking at this one study yesterday, you actually are having the Balaj to inhibit the reproduction of the virus in the cells by up to 84%. So therefore, when people talk about I'm feeling better, or the symptoms are not the same as they were in taking the Balaj as opposed to somebody not taking the Balaj, you're really speaking about what's happening down at the cellular level, if you will. Balaj, as you all know, is a product that has rosemary and it has olive leaf extract. The olive leaf extract, if I might just say, for some people that may not know, it's antiviral, it's anti-inflammatory, it's antioxidant, it's antimicrobial. That means it not only helps to fight bacteria and fungus, but it also helps to fight viruses themselves. It's also an immune booster. So when you talk about what does this all mean down at the 3CL Pro level, the viral replication of the coronavirus, which is otherwise something that goes down and affects the cell, the Balaj works to inhibit this 3CL Pro enzyme to actually decrease the virus reproducing in the cell by up to 84%. Alejandro?
Yes, thank you, doctor. Thank you. Thank you. That's absolutely right. What else do we have here after receiving our clinical trials, our clinical studies? Well, blood samples were taken from patients in the Balaj group and the control group. We're talking about 200 patients, 50% women, 50% men that were part of this study. And the attraction and action of these natural killer cells was evaluated at the beginning and the end of the study, measuring the lactate dehydrogenase released from the target cells. And this is also quite amazing. The natural killer cell activity increased by almost 40%, 38.8%, and no significant changes were observed in the control group. So we can conclude that Balaj stimulates our immune system through the attraction and action of these NK cells. Dr. Franco, what would you like to add about this?
Well, basically that the natural killer cells, that's been around since the body was created, and they weaken because we don't eat right. There's no nutrition, there are no nutrients in the body. We eat lots of food. We're eating animal products, we're eating cooked food, we're eating processed food. So the body lives off of nutrients, not off of food. And when you don't get the food, then it doesn't matter, even if you had a good, what you call a real powerful antioxidant formula, or if you had a supplement that was supposed to heal the body or whatever, it couldn't do it because the body couldn't absorb it, because the microbiota in the gut are just wasted, they're destroyed. But the Balaj helps to strengthen and cleanse and refuel the microbiota with more butyrate, so they become more bioactive And in doing so, they can cause the body to literally do what it did in this clinical trial, which is literally to just stop or halt or arrest the growth of the viral cell period, just to stop it in its tracks.
Thank you, Doctor. Dr. Lee, what would you like to add to what Dr. Franco just said?
Yes, I've read this study that was just completed by Sankey last month, March 2020. And in that study, it actually did show that the Balaj, it stimulated the immune system through attracting and the action of the natural killer cells. Now, what are natural killer cells? Natural killer cells are there in our immune system, and they come in to actually fight a virus or fight whatever can get down at that level of causing something like a COVID-19. And in this particular study, like you said, Alejandro, there were 200 people, men and women, and it showed that this natural killer cell activity was increased by 38.8%. Now, what does that really mean? It means that these natural killer cells, after taking a Balaj, they actually went in and they were able to hurt the cells that had the viruses coming in, hurt the cells and that had the bacteria or whatever else is coming in, and it stimulated the immune system just by taking the Balaj. Now, how in the world can Balaj do that? Well, Balaj, with this Orezad enzyme system, it improves detoxification of the liver. It increases the brain energy. It actually causes a decrease in the production of free radicals. It causes there to be a decrease in the levels of fat paradoxation, which means that it cuts down the amount of fat that's being made too. So it's actually working on the immune system and helping the natural killer cells actually go in and help the body all in one. Now, when you talk about looking at the control group, the people who were not taking Balaj, it found out that there were no significant changes in them, which means the study goes on and talks about other things that we may talk about later, how many of the people, when they were taking the Balaj, didn't have the pneumonia and didn't have gastroenteritis and weren't absent from work and didn't have any case of hospital admission. So the Balaj not only stimulated the immune system, but it helped people on many different levels fight off the virus to the cellular level. Alejandro?
Thank you, Dr. Lee. You want to add something, Dr. Franco?
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure that everyone out there in the audience understands how that works. The immune system, we've got what's called macrophage or these macrophages, which means large eater, through phagocytosis, literally engulf the virus, okay? And they hold it there when the enzymes will dissolve it inside, and then it's taken out of the body if an individual is eating their fiber and if they're drinking their water. That's the way the body does it. They don't just disappear. They have to be taken out of the body. But the macrophage literally will engulf it and then pull it into the bloodstream where it can be removed from the body. And that is what the Balaj does. It increases the leukocytes, the phagocytes, the T cells, those immune system cells. It increases their ability to do their job, which is to scavenge through, detect, and remove things like the COVID virus or coronavirus or SARS virus or any virus. It'll remove them out of the body.
Absolutely. Balaj has proven to have a strong scavenging effect with all these bacteria, viruses, fungus, actually. So to continue with the information around the clinical trials, we will discuss now what are the effects of Balaj with the cytokine storm. And that clinical trial was carried out in 20 healthy volunteer athletes who for 30 days were exposed to extreme exercise to generate an intense release of cytokines similar to that generated in an acute inflammatory process in the body when contracting a disease. The blood levels of IL-6 and tumor necrosis factors, alpha TNF-alpha, were measured. Both powerful pro-inflammatory cytokines. The results are also quite impressive. The IL-6 levels of the athletes who took the lash decreased 58%, while those who took the placebo only 22%. The TNF-alpha levels of the athletes who took the lash decreased by 54%, while those who took the placebo only 14%. So this clearly demonstrates that this cytokine storm is also decreased by the daily intake of the lash. What would you like to add about this, Dr. Lee?
Yes. I'm excited about the Balaj period because of the Oroszai complex and what has been shown through this, and you can see it there on the slide, that you get a reaction from the body whenever you get some type of inflammation. And all of this is really being caused by inflammation when the virus comes into the body. Now you got these are healthy volunteer athletes, but when there was this acute inflammatory process in the body, we get the cytokine storm. And the cytokine storm is something where the body is trying to react to inflammation. And the body goes in and it overreacts, and you get the tumor necrosis factor, you get powerful pro-inflammatory cytokines. So sometimes it's the overreaction, just like you said, Alejandro, of the body, especially down at the lung cellular level, that causes people to die. But what happened is the Balaj in this particular study has shown that it decreases by 58% the overactive levels of the IL-6 as well as the tumor necrosis factor by 54%. So therefore, it's safe to say from these studies that the Balaj decreases the cytokine storm. It gives the chance for your body to respond to a virus, especially down at the level of the lungs, that you can be able to actually not succumb or die from the virus itself, but you can be able to fight off the virus without the cytokine storm coming in and overtaking your body. Alejandro?
Absolutely. Very clear, Doctor. Thank you. Dr. Franco, go ahead.
Yes, sir. I guess basically for the average person out there, they can understand that when you run or exercise or work out, the muscles feel very sore and tired. That's lactic acid buildup, poison building up in the muscles. And if it's not removed, then it can become a problem. And so what happens here, the Balaj actually goes in. Once again, the first thing it does is to flush. It flushes out the poisons and toxins. It helps to burn some of these free radicals, turning them into necessary energy, which gives you more energy. And then at the same time, when it removes that lactic acid, that removes some of the inflammation. And then what you do is you get a much, much quicker and a much, much better recovery time. And that's what I've noticed from some of the athletes that I've talked with, including my son, who now uses it every time before working out. Then after he works out, he drinks some more. And so his recovery time is just absolutely almost instant. And so that's because of the Balaj's ability to cleanse and replenish the cells.
You're absolutely right, Dr. Franco. By the way, Sankey Global has a Sankey Athletes program. We started that program a few years ago in Mexico, and now we have more than 150 professional athletes that will go to the coming Olympics that are in the most important world competitions. And actually, they love the product because of what you just said, Dr. Franco, because the recovery is amazing. So even if you're not a professional athlete, and if you're starting to work out, or if you have been working out all your life, you will start seeing the differences and the way your body recovers if you take the lash before and after the workout, or at least before. Remember, you can take more than 1 dose of the lash per day. Actually, for patients that are infected by the COVID-19, because of these studies that confirm all the benefits from the product, we recommend that you take even up to 6 stick packs of the lash per day. That's also important for everybody to know. So let's continue. I'm excited. I'm really excited. This is a lot of information. I hope you're taking notes. Our last slide around all these clinical trials is about what Dr. Lee was saying a few minutes ago. And it's about this double-blind, 2-arm, parallel group, placebo-controlled, single-center, randomized clinical trial done in Japan with the lash and 200 men and women around 45 years old that were recruited and asked to consume 1 dose of the lash daily or 1 dose of the placebo for 12 weeks between December the 1st of 2019 and March the 1st of 2020. And we also asked them to return the empty boxes to determine the adherence to the treatment. At the end of this clinical trial, it was evaluated how many patients have type A influenza, type B influenza, and viral gastroenteritis. And the influenza type A and B were diagnosed through a sample obtained by nasopharyngeal swab, and gastroenteritis through the presence of symptoms like nausea or vomiting, diarrhea, or fever. The results are also pretty amazing. In the group that took the lash, it was reported a decrease of minus 50.50% of type A influenza incidence, minus 70.31% of type B influenza incidence, minus 50.52 gastroenteritis incidence, minus 67.09% pneumonia incidence, minus 62.5 absence from work. We also measured that, how many of the patients were absent to their work. And also, this is very important. This product, this technology help the patients to not be in a hospital, which at this stage, imagine the potential. I just need you to say the potential that we have in our hands. How many people are just panicked about going to a hospital, even if they get the COVID-19, or even if they get a normal flu or any other type of disease? Nobody wants to go to a hospital now. Well, we can say that this product can avoid you visiting a hospital, as easy as that, because these results are quite impressive. We can conclude that the lash decreased up to 70% the appearance of viral respiratory diseases in all these 200 men and women that were measured for 12 weeks. Dr. Lee, I would love to hear what you want to comment around this.
Yes, Alejandro, I thought this study was well done. It was a double-blind study that was finished and done over the period of time where we normally would see influenza, as well as we would see the coronaviruses and the COVID-19 being rampant. And the results with it showing that Balaj was taken, and it decreased up to 70% of the appearance of these viral respiratory diseases. I think that is significant. As a gastroenterologist, and I've been around and been all over the world in all kinds of different situations and scenarios, and the respiratory viral season is different in different places. But this is something that would actually affect all viral respiratory disease climates. Being a gastroenterologist, and 70% of the immune system is in the 30 feet of bowel. To say that here this study has shown that between 50 to 70% of people from influenzas type A and B, gastroenteritis, as well as pneumonia, have all had a decrease in these illnesses related to the viral syndromes. I mean, it's significant to be able to say. Also, it's a good thing to say that the study showed that comparing to the control group, you can see that 62.5% of them showed that it didn't have to be absent from work, or they didn't have to go into the hospital for admission. So Balaj has shown this decrease, and with this being something that's been shown through a clinical trial, it's safe to say that people can take Balaj and feel as if it would help them not have to go to the hospital or be absent from work from many viral respiratory diseases because of what Balaj has in it. Now, it has the rosemary and it has the olive leaf extract. I've already mentioned what the olive leaf extract does. The rosemary, suffice to say, also regulates our systems, the immune system and the circulatory system. So when you take Balaj, it's going down into the immune system and doing things that the virus itself, these viruses, come in and work against. It's important to say, you see the gastroenteritis incidence there. As a gastroenterologist, I see a lot of people come in and they have the viral gastroenteritis, and they're having diarrhea, and they're having as well as problems that, like they're having an upper respiratory tract infection. And they not only stay away from their job, but they're scared to go anywhere, and it just really limits their life. Here, the Balaj has shown a decrease in not only the gastroenteritis, but also the appearance of the overall viral respiratory disease that will keep a person from being able to function once they have something like this. So I thought this was a good study.
Thank you, Doctor. Thank you for your comments. Dr. Franco, go ahead, please.
Okay. Again, I'd just like to add to what Dr. Laney has said, that we've seen throughout all that we've done so far that one of the main things that Balaj does is it helps to increase immune strength, so the immune system is able to fight off viruses and so forth. Here we're talking about respiratory. Respiratory, that means basically that we've got lots of inflammation, because they say that most disease starts with a buildup of inflammation. And what we haven't said thus far is that we know Hasaki has 596 metabolites, but Balaj has over 300 metabolites. And metabolism, at the end of it, you have metabolites, but the purpose of it is basically three main purposes: converting food into energy for body processes, turning this food into building blocks like building protein. But the third one is very important because it's removing nitrogenous wastes and removing the inflammation. And that's what the Balaj does, is it helps to slow the cytokine storm, which allows the leukocytes, the immune system cells, to go to where they need to go to and the amount they need to go to, so that they can remove the inflammation. And that, of course, is going to cause quick healing and a lot less problems in the respiratory diseases.
Thank you, Dr. Taylor.
I have another comment.
Yes, absolutely, Doctor. We'll just stop sharing my computer so we can start talking with our distributors, our clients, our customers, all our guests tonight.
Yes. The other comment I wanted to mention is that people are talking about COVID-19 being present at the same time, let's say this coming winter and this coming fall, COVID-19 or coronavirus being present with influenza. Many people that come in with COVID-19 type of symptoms, they are tested and they find out that they just have the flu, they have influenza. They're not talking so much about that because so much emphasis is being put on COVID-19 and the deaths around COVID-19. But many people actually have influenza when they come in. So to actually talk about Balaj and the fact that Balaj goes in and decreases the viral respiratory diseases and up to 70%, that's a very important point to make, because if it's working down at the immune level and it's helping to decrease viral respiratory illnesses, here is something in the Balaj that's able to impact what a lot of people will be experiencing as they try to go back to work and in the fall and in the winter. So taking Balaj, like in this study, it was just one stick of Balaj. But just like you say, Alejandro, for people taking Balaj and want to really boost the immune system a little bit more, even when you get some of the first symptoms of what you think is an influenza, you can take more Balaj. And it can actually, if one stick did this, then it's thought that taking like 2 sticks or 3 sticks, if you will, which some people I've heard do that, and you can find that it'll work, I think, even a little bit better.
Absolutely, doctor. You're absolutely right. This is not just for COVID-19. It's for all our lives to be stronger and to feel better. Because basically the benefits are these anti-inflammatory effects of the technology. We haven't talked about the improvement in the microcirculation, which is also very important, and we can prove it through our microscanners, which is also very, very important. And also the reactivation of the antioxidant enzymes that we have inside the cells, like the SOD, the GPX, among others. So basically tonight, what we wanted to share was all this information around the clinical trials. And I would like to give the word to Dr. Helen so we can talk to the people. How can they start sharing this with more people? Because this is such an amazing information. Today, as of today, we have 2.7 million people around the world with COVID-19, 2.7 million cases. Just in the US, 870,000 cases just in the US. Mexico around 10,000. Japan, 11,000. So the US is the top one on earth by far. And we need to share this as soon as possible and as fast as possible to as many people we can, because we can save lives today. We can really save lives, and I don't know what we're waiting for. So Dr. Helen, what would you like to add about this?
Absolutely. Thank you so much to the gentleman that spoke on this evening. And I want to bring you back here, so don't go anywhere, Dr. Lee Laney and Dr. Franco Taylor, because we want to hear some closing thoughts as we conclude on this evening. And thank you so much for the vision, Mr. Alejandro Lopez Tello, to have this amazing international physicians panel call on this evening. So we are definitely very grateful for all of you serving the big team, the big picture, and we're blessed. And so it's very simple what we're discussing on this evening. And we have people tuning in from all over the world. There's definite facts that are horror stories that you're hearing each and every night. I have lost 2 persons that I'm very close with because they just didn't have the right information. It's not because they were at the wrong place at the wrong time. They just lacked education on how to be empowered and how to be restored if, for whatever reason, you were to come into contact with something like this. And it's a travesty because both of these people are in the health and wellness arena via network marketing, as I have been for 12 years. And as a matter of fact, I met both of them 12 years ago. And because sometimes you can get a copycat that will come out with something that they say that it will tend to your illnesses, or it can reverse the symptoms that you might be having, and people believe it. And that is sad when we don't seek the right advice. It's even sadder when tonight you have been given the information to really impact people's lives. But there's a saying that my grandmother, whom raised me, that education, empowerment, and inspiration without application still leads to assassination. And you will get left behind, called elimination. And so, you know, we have a mandate to go out and share the good news of Sankey Global. We have something here that's so rich, and not just the health products, but also the wealth products. Because by simply sharing these stories, exposing people to the experiences that you have heard on tonight, and you're about to hear some powerful testimonies, real stories, real people that have faced the giant of the coronavirus. And they took that information, they took that education, and they applied it. And now today, they are coronavirus free. I want to roll over to New York City, if I may. And I want to bring to the line a young lady who is dear and near to the Sankey family, and definitely to my heart. She is someone that is a pastor in the community of New York City. She has a big role to play like never before, because not only is she praying and laying hands and standing in the gap for people that are going through health challenges, but also wealth challenges. I'm sure that many of you watch the news just like I do. You're watching social media, and you understand that we have over 20 million people that do not have a job tonight. They do not have a clue on how to provide for their family or for their future. And many of them need to know about the platform of Sankey Global by just exposing the good news, exposing it, inviting people on calls just like this, inviting people to your local Lifestyle Connect via Zoom, or maybe someone is having something in their home or at a coffee shop. Exposing people to a three-way call, exposing people to a medical doctor that they can talk to that's affiliated here with Sankey Global, or with ambassadors, journey pioneers that have said yes, like Pastor Giselle Johnny. Pastor Giselle Johnny is an educator. She is someone who is a mentor to masses and masses of women. She believes in empowering women all around the world, especially women of color. She is also a Christian counselor. She is someone who's an advocate for change. She stands in the gap for women that have been physically, emotionally, and spiritually abused. My dear friend, my colleague, faced the giant a few weeks ago. I'm going to get out of the way and allow Pastor Giselle Johnny to share her story, her experience with Sankey Product System, and how that experience saved her life. Pastor Giselle Johnny, are you there, ma'am?
Great evening, Dr. Helen. Yes, I am. How are you doing?
I'm excellent, ma'am. Take us away.
Thank you so much. First, I just want to say thank you to great women like yourself, and also Queen Rhonda Isaac, and people like you who have exposed people like me to something so tremendous. Having been someone prior to November, never, ever, ever knowing anything about network marketing, but having my life back, I just want to say thank you. And thank you to all the great, great leaders, the CEOs, Dr. Alejandro, Dr. Avida, and all of our great doctors that we have on this platform. I just wanted to say thank you. And so 3 weeks ago, I started getting some terrible, terrible symptoms. And before I talk about that, being at the epicenter of this coronavirus, which is New York, I have been inside. From the time the word came around, I have been inside. But looking at the news today, the 23rd of April, 263,000. Are you hearing me? 263,632 deaths today, cases today, and 17,671 deaths today. And I have friends who are nurses, you just get home in the night and cry because the hospitals smell like that. This is what we are living in. People are dying all around us, people we know. And so 3 weeks ago, when I contracted this, what I thought was a terrible flu, I was simply being accountable by messaging some of my leaders to let them know I can't do anything because I'm in distress. I couldn't really talk a lot. I was coughing. I had this sore throat. And then the days went by and it started to get worse. I was having respiratory distress. To take one breath, I had to sum up all of the energy in my entire body just to take one breath. And then you started feeling like this liquid inside of your inside. Then your smell goes away, your sense of smell. There's nothing, you can't smell anything at all. Your sense of taste goes away, you can't taste anything at all. And then you start having like this inner fever, it's like an inner temperature. And I'm just going to be really open, even a lot of blood, even in your stools. And so you're throwing up and all of this is happening. And when I reached out, I was told to take the Grenouille de Ballage, the Inner 7 together. And this is what helped me because I was taking the product the way I usually do. And I don't know what would have happened if I was not taking it because I would have had a lot of autoimmune issues. And I was the only one in my house who really got touched by this thing so badly. The other persons are also on the product, my 7-year-old son, my husband, and they were not touched by it. So I know it's because my immune system is now rebuilding, but I'm just grateful and thankful to have my life here now on tonight because it could have gone differently had I not been a part of this great mission. So I just want to say thank you because in 5 days from the time I contracted, then when I sent the info out, the following was like 2.5 days. I started doing the Grenouille de Ballage, the Inner 7. So in all, it was 5 days of suffering. And it could have been shortened had I reached out and gotten this information the first day, I think. So I just wanted to say thank you. And I appreciate what we have in our hands. And I want to encourage us to just use it to save lives. At this point, it's not just changing lives, it's saving lives. Thank you so much.
Wow, wow, wow. Pastor Giselle, Johnny, I know that you reached out to me and a few other leaders. And I will say, because we've grown to love you. And I was petrified when I read your symptoms, when I heard your voice. I said, oh my God. And fever spiking. I mean, just every single thing that we were hearing about on the news. And here it is that even if we lived in the same city, we couldn't get to you. You would have to be quarantined, which you did. You didn't want to be around your family because in fear that you could pass this on to them. And what did that feel like at the moment that you were gasping for air, gasping for life, wondering with all of the things that you're hearing on the radio and you're seeing on the news and you're hearing about people that are very healthy, work out every day, in the best shape of their life, but because they waited too long and it traveled to their lungs, they did not make it in time to the hospital and they died. Or they made it to only succumb to being on a ventilator for 24 or 48 hours. What were the things that you were facing at this time when you did not know what direction this could go? And you were just getting advice about warm up the Ballage, the Grenouille, the Inner 7, drink it as hot as you can, as often as you can. What were some of the things that was racing through your mind? Talk to us, take us there to the night when you realized, oh my God, this has now come knocking at my door.
Well, Dr. Helen, if it was knocking at my door, I may not have had those thoughts, but it was inside. It was already inside. It was beyond the door. It had entered and it was taking over. Why am I saying it was taking over? Because
I wanted you to say it. I didn't want to be the one to say it. Say it.
It was taking over. And the worst thing was when I did the online, you could get the doctors to send you this online survey. You can get your doctor to do that. And so when I got the online survey sent to me and I filled it out, all of the symptoms, and that came back, and you see the response coming back saying this is confirmed coronavirus symptoms. That's when I know it's not just not, it was home, 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 home. This is where all the thoughts of death, with all my faith, with all my preaching, with all my encouraging, the thoughts of death began to bombard my mind.
Wow.
And I'm just thinking, God, I've just started a new journey. I've just started a new path. I have so many dreams, and that's what was happening. And it's like every breath you value, every single breath you value. That's what it's like.
That's powerful. And so after about how many days did you start to feel better from being on the Sankey product system?
So I had reached out by the first day. When I started feeling so horrible, I was thinking it's just a bad flu. By the second day, I realized that something was really wrong. And so it was the third day when I realized I couldn't even talk to have a conversation with anyone. So that's why I reached out, because I didn't want to disappoint anyone, not being on the calls, not talking. And so when I reached out to you, and I reached out as well to Queen Fabiola, Queen Rhonda as well, when I got the information and it was confirmed by all three persons to take the Queen de Balage, the inner 7, that was stage 3. And so you had sent me a message with a prayer saying that in 5 days it would be over. And I was really looking forward to that. But I was thinking it's probably 5 days from the day you said it. But it was just a 5-day journey, because I started the middle of it on the 3rd day. And so by the 5th day, I woke up the morning and I started feeling everything was just back to normal. I mean, normal. I'm talking about, Dr. Helen, let's just be open. I'm talking about the 2nd day and the 3rd day. I was bleeding in my stool, a lot of blood, and feeling so weak. It was a lot. And I was really, really, really scared. So it was 5 days from the contracting till the 5th day. It was the end of it. And no one else in my house, not even my 7-year-old son, had a problem with it. He started coughing one day. We pumped up the Balage on him. My husband started coughing. We pumped up the Balage. We said, okay, if this is what we're going to do, we're going to do the Crenui and the inner 7. And so we pumped it up, and that was it. No one else was touched.
Wow. Wow. I just thank you on the behalf of everyone that's listening in for your transparency, for that level of commitment to serve people so that they can be well informed in hopes to be proactive instead of reactive. Men and women, you have heard a very powerful testimony on tonight. And by no means are we making any medical claims that the Sankey product system will heal anyone, or it is the remedy, or it is a cure. But these are real testimonies. And there's been so many people that have been battling and perhaps did not have enough umption to say, let me call and do a video chat with a doctor, or let me go to the emergency room. They didn't have the courage to do that. And maybe they just battled and they suffered in silence. Matter of fact, I remember a few months ago, before the big talk of the coronavirus is now plaguing North America, back in February, our national sales director, Mr. Corey Williams, we had a talk about this a few nights ago. He was dreadfully sick. I mean, high fevers. He was using a breathing type machine, a ventilator, to get some oxygen. He had been diagnosed with about 4 different kind of strands of viruses. Of course, at that time, no one knew to test for the coronavirus. But I am certain, as he is certain, that it is definitely the prayers of people, and it's the prayers of maybe even the ancestors that have gone before us, that pray for your healing, for your restoration, for your redemption in this process, in this thing called life. And I also believe that him being connected and having the right information to use this product system triple time. You don't just take it regular when you're gasping and you can't breathe. You take these products triple time. And I saw him getting better. But again, no one knew that he was going through something very similar, or he could perhaps have even had the coronavirus. I've spoken to so many men and women that have been on our product line, and they're like, I've got some really weird symptoms. And I tell them, double up, triple up. And they'll call me in 2 to 5 days and say the symptoms are gone. And so I know without a shadow of a doubt, we have something very special here. I know without a shadow of a doubt that our product system, it is allowing people to live stronger and longer lives. It is a miracle, our product system. And I can't say that enough, and I can't stress it enough, that you have the power in your hand and in your voice and in something called this mobile device. Stop watching it all day long and going on social media and just watching what's going on. Be a part of what's going on. Be the change that you want to see in the world. You want to see people healed. You want to see people restored. You want to see people redeemed. Then you have a responsibility. You have a mandate to pick up your phone and expose, invite people to the Lifestyle Connects, invite people to calls like this, play this recording, put this on your social media page, expose, copy, paste, and profit. It's just that simple. There's no hype in this. There's no exaggeration to this. These are real stories from real people getting right now real results. It is more than just to change a life, but to have the ability and stability to save a life is powerful. I want to roll over to another dear friend of mine, someone who has become like a sister to me. Matter of fact, today we were talking about things that had nothing to do with business, just talking about life, talking about women's stuff, you know, the things we go through as moms and as daughters and as significant others. And I am so grateful that our paths have connected. She's out of Trinidad and Tobago, but she was in New York City around the same time that I went to serve Miss Giselle Johnny and this lady and their entire New York team back in February. And I am certain that I came in contact with people that were positive for the coronavirus. And I believe in my heart that at that time that I was in New York City, the strand of coronavirus was raging through her body. She left New York City to go home to Trinidad and Tobago and became dreadfully sick. I mean, down for days and days and days. We were all very worried. And as much faith as we had, and our prayer language was absolutely activated, but we were still very concerned about her life, about her destiny. I want to bring to the line Miss Queen Rhonda Isaac, natural pathologist of Trinidad and Tobago, so she can share with you just for a few moments the power of our Sankey product system. Queen Rhonda Isaac, millionaire maker, are you on the line?
Yes, I am, Dr. Helen.
How are you doing, beautiful?
I am fantastic. And how are you?
I am excellent, and you look amazing. You look much better than you did last week. Take us away.
Well, as you said, yes, I was in New York, and I do work closely because Giselle is part of my team. So we interact a lot while we were in New York, and I left and I came home. And then when I came home, I actually started experiencing symptoms. However, I am not the type to go to hospitals. I am not the type to go to the doctor. However, understanding what I have in my hand, I usually use products and supplements to do just that. And because I know these products build up the immune system, I've always been on them. So when I started getting the symptoms, I simply increased my dosage and started resting a lot more. I was getting the same cough, the inability to smell and taste. You actually lose the smell and the taste. I actually started documenting the symptoms that I was getting, because for me it started with a headache, and in between I would feel like I'm getting an internal fever going and coming. But because I kept using the products, the fever never really got a chance to kick in. And I felt as if my tongue went numb. I couldn't taste anything. There was a lot of dryness in my mouth, and I started developing the cough and those different things. But along with using the products, I would also try and implement certain things like, well, before I go to sleep, I would actually put a mint in my mouth, because they say if your body remains too dry, then the virus would have time to set in. And to try and protect myself during the nighttime, I know with a mint, your mouth would actually keep manufacturing the saliva to keep the passage moist. So those are things that I would use. And in speaking to someone else, they were telling me that you mix the 3 products. So with that, I would mix the 3 products as well. And when I did that, I actually felt a major difference within probably about the 15 to 20 minutes time. You felt like you actually get a kick of energy. But even though I got the kick of energy, I tried to rest a lot to allow my body to heal, because I know it is during the resting period is where your body is able to really repair and do the work of getting rid of the virus. It doesn't make sense overexerting yourself, because one of the days I actually was feeling better. I got up and did some washing, and then I realized I was overexerted. So I ended up just sleeping out the afternoon, because my body was doing an internal fight. So I had to allow it to do its work and not do too much external work. So yeah, the products do help. I know they would have helped, and therefore I just didn't even bother to go get tested. One of the things I try to do is stay away from talking to people, not necessarily because of the symptoms and other things, but because people, especially in Trinidad, their answer is go to the hospital, go get tested, go to the hospital. And that's not my answer, because I know I am using these products to repair my system. And one of the first things the hospitals do is give you antibiotics. And I spoke with someone else who had the virus, and that's exactly what they were on, antibiotics, which would have just worked in a reverse counteraction to the products that I'm using. So I know it didn't make sense going to the hospital.
Wow. Wow, wow, wow. That's amazing. And I mean, it's like, I know you, both of you, and this was real for me, because I was like, oh my God. Okay. So when she gets back to Trinidad, who's going to help her? Who's going to take her to the hospital? She really needs to go to the hospital. Oh my God. I hope she's going to be okay. I mean, it was a lot, but then it gave me peace, because I know how disciplined you are. When you set your mind to have a routine, and that's what you are really good at. You're very disciplined. You're very obedient. And when something is working for you and you know what combination to use, and like you've taught me, the body is created to heal itself. But sometimes you have to have some assistance, and you use wisdom, and you use the right products, obviously, because you look 1,000% better. You sound better. And I'm just happy that you didn't decide to go meet Jesus before me.
Just to add to that, I live in a house with my son, who's 21, and a 6-month-old baby.
Wow.
And as you were saying, prevention, I usually emphasize on prevention is better than cure. My great-grandmother had a saying that what's good for the sick is better for the well. So even while I was taking it, I made sure they were on it as well, to prevent them getting any of the symptoms. So
wow. Well, thank you again, Queen Rhonda Isaac. Love you. Love both of you. Appreciate you being so transparent. We're going to just take 2 more testimonies tonight. They're going to be very quick testimonies, because we want to open up the lines. We're going to bring back on to Mr. Jose Avita, who's going to administer some Q&A on tonight. We're going to have some closing comments that you don't want to move. You don't want to go anywhere. Matter of fact, you want to start inviting people if you haven't, because I know some of you are in awe and you're almost frozen and you're like, oh my God. Now unfreeze, go ahead and invite people. We're only going to be on for just a few more minutes here, but literally you want them to hear this life-changing information on tonight. So I'm going to roll right over to Dallas, Texas. A very dear friend of mine. He's been in the industry of direct sales for over 30 years, a former NFL player. He just has a tremendous amount of experience in business, in life, in ministry. He is a father. He is a husband. He is a mentor to people all over the world. He's a life changer. That's what he is. And he has an amazing testimony that he wants to share with you on tonight. Tim Trahan, are you out there, sir? Are you able to unmute your line? Or whomever is controlling the panel, can you go ahead and unmute King Tim Trahan? All right, well, we'll roll back to him if we can, if time permits. But we're now going to just roll over to Kingston, Jamaica. I met this young lady just a few short months ago in person, but I've been following her career path for the last 15 years. She's someone who I look up towards. She has paved the way for many, many powerful women to be powerful women, especially women of color. She is someone who has pioneered and spearheaded many major movements in network marketing. She's been responsible for 5 health and wellness companies coming through and sticking and staying in the Caribbean market. She owns and operates several successful businesses, and she's also a customs officer. She sits on a very high level of a board in the political arena of the Caribbean market as well. She's an influencer, and she is sought after for the advice of men and women that desire to do business at a very high level in the Caribbean market. I want to get out of the way of someone who started as a colleague, but she has now become my friend. She has also become my sister. Queen Beverly Holness, the Caribbean liaison for Sankey Global. Are you there, ma'am?
I'm right.
Are you there?
Yes, I am right here. Are you hearing me loud and clear?
Okay, yep, vaguely. You sound far away.
Okay, are you hearing me any better?
We can hear you now. Take us away.
Okay, fantastic, fantastic. It has been an absolute beautiful evening. Thank you so much for that beautiful introduction. And, you know, I listened to Pastor Giselle and I listened to Rhonda. And, you know, when I listen to them, I'm like, oh my God, there is hope. But I would just want to say thanks to you, Dr. Helen. I want to say thanks to Dr. Alejandro for this beautiful opportunity, for this movement, because it is an absolute movement that has been ordained by God, right? I want to say thanks to Dr. Franco. I want to say thanks to the other doctor. Don't remember his name, but I just want to say thanks to the entire Sankey Global family. I want to say thanks to Mr. Jose Aved. It is just an amazing time to be alive, even though we are in the face of Corona. But what I want to bring and what I really want to say to my Jamaican and everybody on this call tonight is that there is hope. There is hope in the midst of chaos. There is hope. In the face of death, there is hope. Pastor Giselle in New York, which is now the epicenter of the coronavirus, all she saw was the products and she had hope. And I just want to, are you hearing me good still? Are you still hearing me?
We can hear you just fine.
Okay. Are you able to see me?
We can't see you, but that's okay. We can hear you.
Okay, fantastic. And I just want to say to my Jamaican people who are on the line, because we have several persons from Jamaica on this call. We have persons all over the world. I want to say to you tonight, Sankey Global has used trees that God has made from time immemorial to save life. The olive tree, when I first learned about the olive tree, I know that back down there in Noah, that dove brought the olive, went out to and pick up an olive tree and leaf and came back. And this is what Sankey Global is using along with the rosemary in the Balaj to save lives. This is amazing. This is what you call hope. And if you could just see me right now, I don't want to put my camera on because I don't want my the reception to drop. But I am now drinking both my Balaj, my Crenute, and my Inner 7 all in one. Why? Because based on the message that we get tonight, we now need to become proactive and not reactive. And I'm not saying that Pastor Giselle and Rhonda was being reactive, right? We are not saying that. But what is happening? What has happened to them? Because they had some of this product in their body had a fighting chance to fight the coronavirus. And this is what these products has been doing. This is what they did. And when they step up the pace a little bit, they were able to come through. In the midst of the chaos that is happening right now in the world, coronavirus does not only bring hope for you to get better from the coronavirus, it brings hope as it relates to your finances. And what you are noticing with this coronavirus, it has no respect for color. It have no respect for class. It have no respect for creed. It have no respect for religion. And it has no respect for whatever political allegiance you are a part of. Because this coronavirus is sweeping through the world. People are hungry. People are dying. So when persons and people are hungry and people are dying, what are the two things you can help them with? You can help them to be better. And this is what we are doing with these fantastic 4 products, which is the Balaj, the Crenute, the Inner 7, and the Asaki. And how are we helping them? We are helping them again because they are able to put food on their table. Because Sankey Global said, hey, all you need to do is to open your mouth and talk. And as Dr. Helen rightly said, people talk on Facebook. They put up their picture cooking some dinner that maybe not even tastes good. They put up a new hairstyle. They put on some clothes that not even maybe look good. And they put everything on social media. What you need to do now is start talking about these products because it is going to save life in terms of your health. And it is also going to put food on your table. It is one thing for you to be hungry, but it's another thing when you have kids crying to you for hunger. And so this is what I'm saying to you now. While in the midst of chaos, there is always opportunity. And I am seeing where Sankey Global, through these amazing products, has brought us, basically my grandma would say we're using 1 stone to kill 2 birds. I'm not sure, Dr. Helen, if you have ever heard that saying, if your grandma ever say that to you. So all we're doing right here, we're talking about this awesome product. We are inviting persons to experience a better lifestyle in terms of their health, and in turn, Sankey Global say thank you and give you an awesome paycheck. What a wonderful, team to be a part of. I stand here as the ambassador for the Caribbean in terms of Jamaica, Barbados, Trinidad, and any other country, that Caribbean island that need my help. I stand in the gap to help, to ensure that they understand how to get and know the entire logistics of how to get the products in. Right in Jamaica now, people are able to get their products in 24 hours after you purchase your product. In another week or less, Trinidad and Tobago will be able to get their products in 24 hours or less. This is what you call amazing plus. Because half of Jamaica right now is closed because of the coronavirus. But I can tell you, the Sankey Global Fulfillment Center is open. Thanks be to God. And I just want to end by saying, let us, for those who are on this call, who you are not yet on these products, I'm imploring you to start. Be proactive and not reactive. And if you are already on the product, step up your game. Back over to you, Dr. Helen.
Thank you, Queen Beverly Wholeness of Jamaica. You got me so fired up over here. I'm telling you, I am here in Florida at one of my homes. I'm standing on my dango head with excitement. Guys, we're going to do something special tonight. We're going to be giving somebody some products tonight. we're also going to be sharing a way where you can get free products tonight. So you don't want to hang up. Matter of fact, if you saw somebody who was on and they're not on anymore, you need to tell them you got to get on right now so you can hear how you can get your products that will safeguard your health and that also will stimulate your wealth. You're going to hear an announcement here just in a few moments. So you cannot move. You cannot move. And if you saw someone that did move, tell them to move back onto the call. So thank you so much. You know, that is just power in transparency. There's power in unity. There's power in love. There's power in coming together and everyone being on the same page. And there's a saying that one of the owners, I can't remember if it was Mr. Gert or Mr. NC, but what he said that was so profound is that God created us and Sankey united us. And that's powerful. Guys, eyes have not heard nor ears have, eyes have not seen nor ears have heard the goodness of what God is doing in Sankey Global. If you think that you've heard something here on tonight, you haven't heard nothing yet. You haven't seen nothing yet because we haven't scratched the scratch because we were waiting on you and now you're here. And so I challenge you. I beg of you with all humility to go and expose the stories, the testimonies, the love, the culture, the leadership, the opportunity of Sankey Global. Not tomorrow, but tonight. Because tomorrow, you want them to be a part of the call-a-thon. We're going to have an Empower-a-thon every hour on the hour from 12 o'clock to 8 o'clock. I challenge you to invite as many people that you love, that you care about, your friends, your colleagues, your family members, your frenemies even. Yeah, they need some money too, and they need to be protected. You wouldn't want to see nothing bad happen to them, right? Or their children. So you want to invite them 20 minutes at the top of every hour on the hour. Get the phone number from the person that invited you tonight and get back on tomorrow. It'll be a different Zoom link, but we'll be posting all over social media. It's a private Zoom link, but we have designed it just for you. And I'm expecting every line to be packed out, so you want to log on early. The kickoff is going to be 12 o'clock Eastern, and that is tomorrow. You don't want to miss it, guys. If you think the stories were powerful, you wait until you hear them tomorrow. So I want to roll right back over to Dallas, Texas, just for 3 minutes. And then what we're going to do is we're going to turn the call over to Mr. Abita because the time is coming to an end. So unfortunately, I can't take any more speakers tonight, but I want to go ahead and make some room for King Tim Trahan. Are you there, sir?
Yes, ma'am. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Yes, I can. Take us away.
All right. Thank you. That was an awesome and powerful testimony previous to mine, guys. But hey, listen, I just want to say that, you know, what we have, guys, we're sitting on a gold mine with this. One of my good colleagues and a friend of mine through the industry as well, Dr. Marie, she was suffering some symptoms as well as her daughter, who flew in from New York. And she started doubling up on the Balage and also taking the Inner 7. And it started working for her immediately. She was having the itchy throat and the fever and all of the symptoms related to COVID. And she called me after a couple of days of her taking the Balage and the Inner 7, and she wanted to know exactly what was in those products so she could pass the good news to the other doctors that are in her office as well. So guys, you just don't know, you know, what it is that we have. I mean, we have something that's ultra special here. And like we said, can save lives. And, you know, we're in a situation right now where folks are sitting at home and they don't know what to do. And if you don't open your mouth, they don't even know what it is that you have. So we have to talk to as many people as possible, let as many people as possible know that we have the solution, guys. And for you guys that don't understand business, listen, the folks that are able to solve the biggest problems make the most money. Well, we're in the middle of a huge problem right now, and we have the solution. So with that, Dr. Helen, I want to turn the call back over to you. Thank you for allowing me to speak real briefly.
Thank you so much. And I personally know Dr. Marie, and that is incredible that you got to her in time with the Sankey product system. King Tim Trahan, just such a phenomenal leader. And all of the leaders that spoke tonight, we really appreciate you. So I want to go ahead and turn it over to the co-host on this evening, Mr. Jose Avita, for those that may have some questions that you want answered on tonight. We're going to do a little Q&A. So Mr. Jose Avita, you have the floor. Take us away.
Thank you, Dr. Helen, and thank you everyone for sharing their testimonials. And it's amazing, and that's the main reason that why we're doing what we're doing. And I have been always saying that we do this for you and because of you. And the main goal and the vision and the mission of the Sankey family is to really help thousands of people around the world, millions of people around the world in this season mainly. And as many of you say, this is a huge opportunity right now to help a lot of people. And with no more explanations, I want to go over the QA. So as you can see in your chat in the Zoom panel in the bottom of your screen, you have a Q&A button that you can click and write us your questions. So I want to start making some of the questions that we received already, of course, to Dr. Franco, Dr. Lee, and Mr. Alejandro Lopez-Tello, whoever wants to answer the question. And the first one is, I think it says, it doesn't say who sent it, but can these products can be used for a child with endocrine issues causing HBP, congenital adrenal hyperplasia to be exact?
Well,
I think
go ahead.
Those questions are for medical doctors. So I'm a chemical engineer. I cannot I can try to answer, but I prefer not to do it. I give the word to the doctors, to the MDs.
This is Dr. Franco Taylor. What we have to look at is we're so used to supplements that heal the heart and heal the liver and heal the lung, but we don't have that type of formulations. Our formulations are designed to give the body exactly what it needs so that it can heal itself. So yes, we're talking about plant-based, food-based ingredients, metabolites, millions of enzymes, antioxidants that go into the body, and it causes the body to begin to heal at the microcellular level. So it doesn't matter what the illness is, the body knows how to heal itself. There's no rocket science about that. The body knows what to do. God placed millions of immune cells in the body that go into action when something is wrong. And if you're eating correctly, drinking correctly, getting your exercise and all that, the body will heal itself. If you're not doing that, then the body needs a jump start. And our products, the Balage, the Quinui, and the Inter7 and the Hasaki are designed to give the body what it needs at all the various levels. And therefore, the body will begin to heal itself. So yes, this little person, by ingesting our products, the body will begin to heal itself. That's just the way it is.
Thank you, Dr. Franco. Something that you want to add, Dr. Leilani?
Yes, I just want to say, can you hear me?
Yes.
Well, I agree with Dr. Franco, and that these products are being used in all age groups, and it goes right in working at the immune system. Different people have been talking, and they've been talking about how they've given the products to their children and are noticing that their children who have immune systems, their children who have circulation, their children who have systems that these products activate the antioxidant system in our own bodies, they will help them with almost any particular condition. The studies and trials that we talked about today that are going on is really showing, just like Dr. Franco has mentioned, not only do we have the metabolites in the Hasaki, but we have metabolites in the Balage also. The Balage is beginning to surface as a superior product for almost any particular condition because of how much it works to not only help the body hydrate at the cellular level, which helps the immune system, but to actually go in and help the circulation, which helps to, at the immune system, and to also help down at the level of the mitochondria. So when we talk about any and all age groups, a product that works down at the level of the mitochondria, after it gets past the stomach and everything. Keep in mind that the enzyme system, where the breakdown of many of the foods and products that we take get past the stomach because of the unique enzyme system of these products, and gets down into the cellular level. So yes, it would take care of any of the particular conditions that were mentioned, just like Dr. Franco mentioned.
Thank you, Dr. Lee. Very, very good explanation. Thank you for that answer. And well, the next one is is related with the first one, because someone is asking us about can Sankey products can be taken by children and also by a pregnant woman.
Well, you want me to go on and answer that question?
Yeah, it's a question in two parts. The first one is, can children, is safe for children?
Yes, children, and then second is pregnant women.
And then pregnant women.
Yeah. First off, in children, children can take the products, the products which are have basis of olive leaf extract, rosemary, spirulina, the enzyme systems, the turmeric, as well as different things when you talk about minerals. All these things are needed by children as well as by adults. We talk about children. I say any children that are past the nursing age really can take these products safely. Once again, you talk about using the products, but you talk about using not necessarily the large dose that we would use with adults, but being able to use, whereas someone may be taking a couple of Balaj a day, just using maybe one or half on the children that are under 10, and then children over 10 years old can probably take take an adult dose. The second, and I'll let Dr. Franco say what he wants to say about these, but the second question is pregnant women. We talk about in pregnancy, they tell pregnant women to take vitamins and supplements. And the vitamins and supplements that are taken, a lot of times they talk about prenatal vitamins, and this is what a lot of the doctors in conventional medicine give. But these products are products that are natural products, and they're herbal-based products. So a woman can check with her doctor, but she could be safe to be able to take the products, because they don't do anything working down against the level of pregnancy, or working down against the immune system, if you will. A lot of people that are pregnant, they're having different problems with blood pressure, whatever, in conventional medicine. And many of these products do go in and help the circulation. If it's helping the circulation of the mother, it can help the circulation of the baby, help down at the immune system level. So I think you would have a safety on both fronts. Dr. Franco?
Dr. Lee Laney, I agree with you wholeheartedly. And I guess sometimes I hold back because it sounds like I sound like a broken record. We're talking about the food. We're talking about the food that a lot of people, most people, are not getting because they don't eat properly. Okay, not picking on anyone, but the world has been taught to go to Mickey D's, Captain D's, Wendy's, one of these, some of these, all of these. Okay, and because of that, we're getting food that's not giving us the nutrients, so the body can't heal itself. But when you're talking about these food grade products full of enzymes, metabolites, antioxidants, enzymes, that's what everybody needs. That's what we've been missing. That is why Dr. Edias decided to do this, because he looked at the Japanese who were living to be such, living these long ages. Longevity was all over the place, 70,000 centenarians in Japan, and they were getting foods, fermented foods, that had all of these ingredients in it that kept them living long without sickness. Babies through centenarians. So yes, these foods would basically, like Dr. Laney said, you can go and ask your doctor what he thinks, but if you'll take most of those medicines out of GNC and so forth, those supplements and so forth, a good deal of them are just hog fat, plastic covered, horse's hoof covered, and mixed with all kind of chemicals and so forth. unless they say plant-based 100%, you got nothing. So yes, I would say they're safe for whoever. And again, you need to go ask your doctor. What can he say against a food-based, plant-based products like what we have?
Thank you, doctor, for that explanation. And I think that the next question is very similar to the previous explanation that you already shared with us about how the products work with different type of patients and chronodegeneration illnesses. And the question, in addition of the symptom of the patient here, and somewhat with cancer, colon cancer, anemia, a low pressure, temperature of 39, shows weakness. The question mainly is not about here the illness or disease. It's like the people that have suffering some symptoms and different ones like COVID-19 or different type of flus or different type of illnesses, how many doses they should take during the day? How many doses of Village, how many of Hasaki, how many Nuer-7, how many Chronoid?
Well, I guess I can simply say that it'd be pretty hard to overdose on food, okay? So the bottom line, because it's not fattening food, so it's not going to pop your stomach, okay? So the bottom line is, and sometimes we have to be our own physician. You know yourself better than anybody else. And if you're taking the product, you double up, see what happens. Triple up, see what happens. If you don't feel good enough, do a little more. If you feel like it's doing fine, you can go back. But the bottom line is you get to the point where you know what your body needs and you put into it what it needs until it feels like you think it ought to feel. So you kind of have, I mean, there's no exact amount for anybody. A physician, heal thyself. That's scripture. Heal yourself. Look at, you know how you feel. Take the products and they're working. You know they're working. If you need more, a little more energy. You're not feeling quite like you ought to feel. Take a little bit more and then see how that works. And you can go up and down based on how you're feeling.
I would like to add.
Yep.
I would like to add that all chronic diseases are the consequence of lack of microcirculation, because there are lots of questions. They were asking if a diabetic can take this. Of course, there's no problem, and there are millions of diabetic patients in the U.S. Actually, this helps a lot in diabetic patients, and maybe Dr. Laney can add to this, but I was just going to say that the majority of these diseases that are chronic, like diabetes, high blood pressure, cancer, arthritis, Alzheimer's, etc., are the consequence of inflammation at the cellular level and lack of microcirculation. So we're going to the origin at the cellular level, and all our products, the 4 products that we have in the U.S., are mainly metabolites. All of them are metabolites. The Lash has metabolites that we obtain from the rosemary leaves and the olive tree leaves. Cronui has metabolites that we obtain basically from green tea leaves and black beans. Hasaki is based on metabolites that we obtain from cocoa beans. And Nuer-7 has metabolites that we obtain from deep ocean water, basically from the plankton. And minerals like magnesium, that at the nano level, that we obtain from this deep ocean water. So at the end, if you take the 4 products, you're fueling all your human cells with metabolites. And these metabolites are these amino acids, enzymes, etc., that help your body restore itself, that help your body boost your immune system, help your body increase your energy levels, help your body in many different aspects that can change your lifestyle forever. And of course, if you have a disease, you will start feeling better and you will start recovering from that disease at a higher pace, or this could be an adjuvant for your other medicines or drugs if you're taking them. And eventually you will start seeing that with your doctors that you can start reducing the amount of drugs that you're taking. That's what we have as testimonies here. We have thousands of testimonies with doctors here and their patients, and how their patients have recovered in the middle and long term from different types of diseases or ailments. So, well, I just want to add that. Dr. Laney, maybe you want to add to this.
Yes. First off, I agree with what Dr. Franco has said. I agree with Alejandro has said. I am a clinician and a scientist, so when people come and ask and they start asking about finite amounts, how much can you take and how long can you take it, and this sort of thing, this is what conventional medicine has been built up around. But let me just say this. Let me back up a little bit, because the whole vision of Dr. Diaz, what Sankey Mayer is doing, from everything I can understand, has been set up around studies that are dealing with the natural products that you so eloquently talked about, Alejandro. And these natural products are the ingredients that you went over, and I hope everybody was listening, because they're ingredients that have been chosen out of several other ingredients over the 40-year period of research, that you choose olive leaf and not something else because of all the different properties of olive leaf. We talked about many of them: antiviral, antioxidant, anti-inflammatory, antimicrobial. But the thing to mention also is that not only is olive leaf an immune booster, but it helps with many of the chronic illnesses that many of us have, including myself and my own family, like, for instance, high cholesterol, high blood pressure, type 2 diabetes, which is running rampant in the United States and all of North America, actually, in all manner of people. But also it helps with reducing risk of weight gain, arthritis, you name it. Now, people were mentioning cancer also. The polyphenols that we see in olive leaf, they actually protect against the DNA damage. Now, the DNA damage comes because we have these free radicals that get into the system, and these damage from these DNA damage because of the free radicals, this is characteristic of what starts a lot of the cancers. So when people talk about how much should I take and this sort of thing, if you're taking one barrage a day and you're taking once a day of everything, that's good. But if you have a system that you want to stimulate the immune system, just like people are noticing in these viral respiratory conditions, they're taking a little bit more. All the studies talk about taking one barrage and this sort of thing. But as you take more, your body will be enhanced at the immune system and the cellular level and utilize what you need. You talk about rosemary, just as I mentioned. It not only helps to regulate our immune system and circulatory system, but it helps in a lot of things, all over from stress to over to kidney damage. Now, these are things that have already been mentioned by Dr. Franco and by Alejandro, but I wanted to mention it again because many of the conditions that people have, they're telling me already, you know what, I noticed that, you know, my bowels are working better. I'm taking a I noticed also that it seems like my kidneys are working better. I'm able to go and use the bathroom and not have to get up all through the night. So there are many things that are being impacted just from people taking the amount that's recommended. Do I take more sometimes? I do. You know, many times we're taking Belage once a day, but we take it twice a day, 3 times a day. It's according to what other kind of condition you want to impact. Lastly, I want to say you have to use some common sense. I think that's one of the things that Dr. Franklin always agree on, is that you're taking something and it starts to help you, and you start seeing your blood pressure go down, start seeing your blood sugar go down. Like I've been many testimonials, and Tim Trahan can own up to that. You tell your doctor, say, hey, look, my sugar's going down. He say, yes, it is. My A1C, and look like you're not getting as much of this medicine as you're taking. So it's not only going to be a help to you, but it's also going to be a testimony even to your doctors and those who know about all the side effects and everything, all the different conventional medicines. Back to you, Mr. Vida.
Thank you. Dr. Franco, you want to add something? I mean, with these answers that Alejandro Lopez-Tello and Dr. Lee just answered, and this great explanation, we answer almost all the questions because at the end, and every time that we have the physician panel on Saturdays, we always have the same thing. Like people is asking about different diseases, different illness, the doses, how many I need to take for how long, and all these things. And at the end, we always came with the same answer. Like every person is going to be different. You need to auto-diagnose yourself in these kind of things, how you're feeling. Sometimes myself, I personally take two Belage during my meal or my lunch, and then I take a lot of Cornuit maybe when I'm playing golf, or when I'm running, going to the gym, I take more Hasaki. So different ways to take it. But as everyone knows, we need to take at least one a day, and one of each a day in order to start feeling the benefits for all the Sanctum products. But something that you want to add, Dr. Franco, and then we go to final comments, and we have some surprises that Dr. Helen will share, and the sales manager.
No, I think we've pretty. I'm sorry. No, I think we pretty much covered that pretty well. I kind of started it off, but yeah, I agree with everything that has been said. And we're so thankful to everybody, all the leaders. Mr. Arvida, you know, I love you, man. You're my salsa teacher. Folks don't realize that people like you and the rest of the leaders who are at the helm of this are so real. All of us, even you, Mr. Teo. We've all been in Mexico. We had lunch and dinner together. We even cried together. I know it sounds crazy for you all out there to hear it, but these men do cry. They're real. They're compassionate about what God has given us in this company, Sankey, and these formulations that heal 100% of the people, 100% of the time. But Mr. Teo, I just want to say to you, thank you for having the vision to see what the vision that was inside of Dr. Bahia Diaz's mind when he talked to you and left and went back to Japan, and you turned around and went right back after him and joined forces. If you hadn't looked at what he had and saw the vision, if you hadn't grabbed that vision, and if you hadn't been willing to literally walk away from a company already set up with many, many products that was doing well, if you didn't have that vision that would help Mr. Ency and Mr. Kurt to join with you, then none of us would be here. So I want to thank you for being just as important to me as Dr. Diaz is, because you had to grab hold of it and just completely sacrifice to start all over again and have that vision. And that's why I'm here, and I'm thankful for you. And I just want you to know that somebody really sees what you did, and I'm thankful for that.
Me too.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Franco and Dr. Lee. Thank you for your words. I really appreciate it, and I'm your humble servant. Whatever you need, you count me in for whatever you need. Thank you, and thank you for your time. I think this has been an amazing evening, with all of you sharing your knowledge and all your experience. I think that to conclude, for me, health is our most precious asset. And with the COVID-19, I think that it's a blessing that all the people is back at their homes, and there is a new conscience evolving and surging in all the cities, in all the states, in all the families, in all the homes, to really understand what all of this means. And of course, it goes beyond this pandemic and goes beyond all the panic. This is about evolving as human race, about really understanding what is life about, and all the love and all the blessings that we have in our lives just at home. So maybe some of us have forgotten that, and we cannot forget it. And this has put us all in the same position as somebody else was just saying. This is not for rich or for poor or for Americans or Mexicans or Asians or Europeans. It's for all of us. And I'm really excited of what's coming out of all of this. I know that the economic part is also a huge challenge, but here is Sankey for all of you, so you can start building a new option, a new opportunity for you and your loved ones. I am truly blessed to be with you guys. I really love you, and thank you for being with us to build to build this huge community in the U.S. and in the Caribbean and in all the world. Thank you. I really appreciate it. God bless you.